All right, welcome to today's Explainer. We've got a seriously cool story for you today. It's basically about Mother Nature and futuristic tech teaming up to save our cities. I know, it sounds a little like a comic book, right? But it's literally happening right now. We're looking at a brilliant invention that could completely change the very air we breathe. So let's just dive right into this super nature story.
So, I want you to picture something for a second. Imagine a really busy, noisy city street, just miles of solid, hard concrete. Now, imagine someone hands you a tiny little seed and says, hey, go plant a massive oak tree right there on the sidewalk. Obviously, that's impossible. As much as we love trees, they need deep soil, a ton of water, and plenty of room underground for their roots. And in our biggest, most packed cities, there is just zero dirt left. But here's the catch. What do we do when we desperately need the fresh air those trees make, right in the exact spots where they physically cannot grow? And that brings us to the villain of our story, air pollution. In these giant concrete jungles around the world, you've got things like old coal power plants and thousands of cars just pumping out this toxic brew. It creates these invisible clouds of bad air that make it super tough to breathe and, actually stay healthy. Now, normally, a big green forest would swoop in and clean that air right up. But like we just said, there's simply no space left to plant a forest in the middle of a busy downtown. Enter our hero. Meet the Liquid 3 photobioreactor. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like a glowing sci-fi water tank straight out of a movie, doesn't it? This amazing gadget was actually dreamed up by scientists at the University of Belgrade over in Serbia. They basically figured, hey, if we can't plant a normal wooden tree into the concrete, we'll just have to invent a completely new liquid kind of tree instead. Now, I've got to let you in on a little secret. The glass tank itself, it's not actually doing the heavy lifting. The real magic comes from these microscopic workers living inside the water called microalgae. Think of them as tiny, single-celled aquatic plants that act like, well, microscopic green Pac-Mans. The scientists picked this incredibly tough, friendly freshwater strain named Chlamydomonas reinhardti. These invisible little guys just swim around, gobbling up the nasty polluted air and breathing out pure, fresh oxygen for us to enjoy. It's basically a self-contained, closed-loop aquarium. It is so cool. Here's the recipe. Step 1. Bright sunlight hits the clear glass and enters the tank. Step 2. Our tiny algae heroes use that light to feast on carbon dioxide, the bad exhaust from city cars. Step 3. As they digest it, boom, they release pure, fresh oxygen right back out onto the street. Oh, and step 4, there are these clever little solar panels on the roof. That means this glowing green tank can keep working and acting like a street lamp even when it's dark outside. To give you an idea of the scale we're talking about here, look at the number 600. That is exactly how many liters of water are inside this glowing tank. It's basically a massive luxury swimming pool for the microalgae. And hidden inside that 600-liter pool are these high-tech sensors. You can think of them like attentive little doctors that are constantly checking the water. They make sure the temperature is absolutely perfect, the algae are fed with nutrients, and everyone's perfectly healthy and churning out fresh air. All right, moving on to section 1, super strength. Let's see how these liquid trees actually stack up against real trees. Okay, get ready for a pretty mind-blowing fact. One of these liquid tree benches takes up a tiny amount of space on this sidewalk, maybe 12 square feet. But because these microalgae work so incredibly fast, that one small glowing bench pumps out the exact same amount of fresh oxygen as 2 entire 10-year-old deciduous trees. I mean, think about how long it takes a tree to grow for a whole decade and how massive its branches get. The liquid tree packs all of that leafy super strength into one compact little futuristic box. And it actually gets better. Check out the number 200. Researchers found that this single 12-square-foot bioreactor does the exact same air cleaning work as 200 square meters of a green grass lawn. Honestly, if you tried to unroll 200 square meters of grass in a crowded city center, you'd need an area over 150 times bigger than the liquid tree itself. The space efficiency here is just incredible. It packs massive, heroic power into a spot small enough to fit right next to a bus stop. Now, obviously, no superhero gadget is complete without some entertaining bonus features, right? This isn't just an air cleaner, it's practically a Swiss Army knife for the city. First off, it's actually a comfortable wooden bench where you can just sit down and rest your feet. Second, it's got a solar-powered phone charger built right in. Third, at night, the tank doubles as a soothing emerald green nightlight for the neighborhood. And my favorite part? As the algae multiply, city workers can scoop out the extra green bits and use it as top-tier organic fertilizer to help regular dirt-planted flowers grow stronger.
Which brings us to Section 2, Building Cities of Tomorrow.
Now, I really need to make this polite but important reminder clear. Liquid trees are an amazing, trusty sidekick, but they are absolutely not here to replace real forests. Not at all. We all still love and need big, beautiful wooden trees with leaves that birds can nest in. The creators are super clear about this. Liquid trees are specialized helpers. They're meant only for tightly packed urban areas, like deep underground utility zones or narrow alleys, where real trees simply cannot put down roots. They're teammates, not replacements. But to be totally fair, we've got to look at the hero's weaknesses too. Even the best tech has its kryptonite. First up, the liquid tree needs constant bright sunlight. If a city has really long dark winters, the algae might basically get sleepy. Second, it requires a steady supply of water to keep the tank full. Third, putting together this high-tech glass and solar panel bench isn't exactly cheap to build at first. And finally, it can't survive completely alone. It needs human helpers to occasionally check the water, wipe down the glass, and harvest that extra algae we talked about.
So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a magical and provocative thought. The next time you're walking down the concrete sidewalks of your own town, look around. What if your city's next park isn't a giant field of grass, but a glowing green bench right on the corner? It's pretty amazing to think about how biotechnology, teaming up with these microscopic algae, could completely transform the very streets you walk on tomorrow. It's definitely a fun idea to feed your mind with as we imagine building a cleaner, brighter world. Thanks so much for joining me today. Stay curious, keep imagining the future, and